So I just recorded a video about, how there are foods that connect me with my culture and everything. And then that's where this story begins. I was feeling really good about having finished recording whatever I recorded. I was talking about, like food and stuff that connects me with my culture. But this month has been really shitty to me. I'm going to be honest with you. Many factors have played into how shitty this month has been for me. So after I finished recording, there was a guy that I've been talking with, for a few days about, potentially meeting up and just cuddling. Because, we met up on Grindr and he seemed really cute. He was like the tall, nerdy type who also was a musician, which also is attractive to me. And, we were doing a little bit of texting back and forth, which was nice. Today, on Monday, it was the day that we decided that we were going to just meet up and, cuddle a little bit. We weren't even going to do anything, super obtrusive or anything like that. We were just going to cuddle. Because he said that he liked cuddling, too. Whatever is easy for you. And he's like, okay, let's do my place then. I'm like, all right, fine. That's great. And so I got in my car, I put in his address, and I drove. And it was only literally a 6-minute drive. That's how close he lived to me. I was making a few rounds around his apartment. It wasn't the most well-lit neighborhood, so it did make me a little bit nervous. It did make me want to park a little bit closer. And, I was telling him, hey, I'm having trouble finding parking near where your apartment is. And he was saying, oh, that's why don't you try these streets around? And I'm like, I did, give me a little bit more time. I need to find a parking spot. And so I drove a few rounds, still couldn't find anything. Every part of it was filled up. Mind you that he did say that there's always pretty decent parking and everything. There wasn't. This is the problem when you live in a big city like LA. People always promise you that there's parking and there isn't. Always take a lift even though it costs you money. And so I told him, hey, I literally cannot find any parking. I'm really sorry for the wait. Since you live so close by, would you mind just coming to my place? 6 minutes, remember this. And he told me, I'm really sorry about the bad luck. Maybe this is a sign that we shouldn't meet up tonight. And I'm like, a sign that we shouldn't meet up tonight? You live 6 minutes away from me. I'm like, so because I can't find a parking spot, you feel like I should just go home. I guess I can kind of see how in someone's head this would be okay to say to someone, you live 6 minutes away. You might have had a really rough day. Mind you, I had a rough day at work too. Even though it was in a nice way, he basically sent me home because there was no parking in his neighborhood. It just felt like he did not take into account at all the effort that I've took to get to where he is. And the time that I spent circling his block trying to find a place to park. I said this to him. I was like, okay, so because I can't find a parking spot, you don't want to meet with me? And he was like, sorry, I don't really feel like traveling. I'm like, traveling? It's 6 minutes. You could walk to my place if you wanted to. This isn't traveling. It's 6 minutes. You could take a lift and pay for $5 for the travel if you don't have a car. And then this dude has the nerve to be like, oh, maybe this is just a sign that we shouldn't meet. I've heard this story happen so many times with women as well. It's these men always find ways to pin it on you as if you're the one being unreasonable and crazy. Bitch, why are you overreacting? I'm like, I'm not overreacting, because I spent time trying to get to you. And the fact that you're not willing to reciprocate the little amount of time that I've tried to give to you says a lot about you more than it says about me. Sure, I'm fine. Peg me as unreasonable. Peg me as an overly angry, bitchy gay man. You are implying that you are totally okay with wasting my time. That means that I have the right to be angry at you. I'm sorry. That's just how it works. Sure, someone that did not have to take the effort to get dressed again, to drive my car, and to circle your block around 4 or 5 times. Of course, to you it would sound unreasonable that I'm getting upset over the fact that you're just sending me home because I can't find a place to park. And so I'm like, okay, fine, maybe this is a sign that we shouldn't meet. Because I usually don't hang well with lazy people anyways. And then this dude has the nerve to be like, I am nowhere near a lazy person. I get that people have bad days. And I get that people have really tired days too. But this is literally 6 minutes we're talking about. I had a really hard day too, and I was willing to pick myself up and go to your place. It was only 6 minutes. And so this guy had the nerve to text back to me, what, I'm not lazy, but the fact that you're trying to throw an insult at me for being lazy, it kind of affirms these suspicions that I had about you. And I'm like, suspicions that you had about me? What kind of, I wish you would have said something to me because I would have tried to address those. And I'm like, me calling you lazy does not hurt nearly as much as a bitch wasting my time, which is what you're doing. So I didn't actually say that to him, but I wish I did. But then I would have been pegged as, more crazy and bitchy. So, I was in a tough spot. I don't know what to do with the gay men here in LA. They're like their own breed of evil. They're like negaverse. Not even negaverse evil. They're like lethargic, lazy, apathetic people. I've said this before where it's like, it feels like just because there's such a larger population and more of a selection of gay men, there's like the sense of entitlement that comes from having such a huge selection, right? Like, you can be lazy, you can treat people like shit, you can waste my time like this. What difference does it matter to you? Because, you'll just pick up another guy tomorrow. Why am I exposing myself to toxic, awful people like this that don't even realize that they're toxic? Like, they're not like trying to do me wrong, but also like they're people that don't value me as a human being and don't value my time. I don't know what to do. Like, it's becoming laughable at this point. I've said this multiple times. Like, I've said this multiple times. Men can be trash. I'm probably one of them, and I'm sorry about that because I don't want to be like this person that fucked me over. Seriously, dude, fuck you. I hope that no one is able to ever come to your place because there's no parking and you're not willing to go to their place. Okay, that's all I have. Thanks so much for listening. I really, really appreciate you. I really, really appreciate this channel is not just being a place to call out people, to uplift people, but also a place for me to vent. Because I know that there are other people that go through things like this. And I'm so sorry. Hopefully next week I don't have a story like this. Bye.